Hey guys, Shadowhunt005 back with another Pokemon video. Sorry I've been away so long, but earlier on this week we had huge news with the release trailer for Pokemon Sword and Shield. So in today's video we're going to have a look over the trailer, look at little parts of it, break it down. The reason why it's coming at the weekend rather than in the week when it was released is because I've got work, so apologies for it being a couple of days after everyone else has already been going on about it. So starting off, let's have a look at the logos. So we've got Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Clearly we're going to have an image of a sword and a shield with them. Interesting, with the word sword we had the slash through it and the dual colors of a blue and a darker blue. And of course the sword just behind. And same with shield design with a two-toned cross pattern on the shield, which probably is going to be on a shield of arms somewhere in the game. Now what's more interesting is the symbol on the top with what looks like wolf heads, but we'll get back to that at a later time. Having a look at the setting, we know that this is set in the Galar region, which is based off of England. Now I say England, a lot of other PokeTubers as well as general Pokemon chats are saying that it's a UK based one. I'm going to be more specific, it's England. There is no Scotland, there is no Wales, there is no Northern Ireland, it is England. England based. So any of you who don't like that, sorry. As for the map itself, we start off with a region based off of the trailer. You're looking at the starting region down in the south, and you're moving up the map into an area right at the top, which I believe is supposed to symbolize London, with what looks like a tower for the Elite Four. Now something that I'm really happy about is the fact that it has brought back the gym and league format that was missing in Sun and Moon and Ultra Sun and Moon. Yeah, Pokemon tried to do something different and people didn't exactly like it. However, one thing that I am noticing about the map, it's a brilliant map. It is absolutely brilliant, but it does look very linear. There are multiple paths, I'm not saying that there isn't, but it clearly starts at the bottom and you work your way up rather than the traditional ones where you've got multiple paths you can take, such as the square area consisting of Cerulean, Vermilion, Celadon, Saffron, and Vermilion. And the whole squarish routine goes in many of the other regions as well. This one just, you don't get that sense with this. It's, as I said, quite linear. Start at the bottom, work your way up to the top. However, I do want to point out that is actually unlikely to be what the game map has. There might be the square region in the middle here, but we will just wait and see. We also see several of the gyms. Now, I've counted about 5 of them which appear in this map. And that's interesting because we're likely to get all 8 gyms, but they're not all appearing on the map, which will possibly mean that there is more, just like with most regions, more than what we have here. As I say, we start at the bottom. That looks like our starting town. That's our palette equivalent, our New Bark, all of those. Moving from the starting area, we've got a lake region appearing, which would be interesting for catching your water types. You've also got what appears to be a train line, which I find hilarious given the fact that I am from Britain and there are train lines everywhere. They never run on time. A lot of the time you've got bus services to replace. In fact, I see a lot of memes going on about that, a lot of jokes about it, so it's quite hilarious. Moving up into our first industrial town, which I believe is the one in the trailer. But we will have a proper breakdown on the map in another video, just so that there's not too much information clogging up this one. The graphics on certainly on the trailer, Yes, it does say it's not final game footage, but I believe that these graphics are going to be similar to what we see. And I gotta say, if they are, I'm absolutely loving it. So starting the actual video, we see that you got your classic English countryside with its windmills that very reminiscent of the Norfolk windmills, which is probably where it's based on. You've got your stereotypical English countryside style cottage in the village, and then you see the trainer. You've got what looks like a slightly older trainer figure. I certainly hope you can customize your clothing, and I've just got to take a pop at that suitcase that he's carrying on his back, because I don't know anyone who carries a suitcase on their back, but I guess they see that as quite British. Just after the female trainer leaves and goes down the steps, we get this image of some sort of house on a lake. It will get a closer up view later on with a battlefield in front of it. Now, going by all of this trailer, I reckon this is probably the Professor's Lab and that you will get your starter from here. Then it comes into this mystic forest scene, maybe reminiscent of the Forest of Dean or something like that. And I'm wondering what sort of quite interesting Pokemon, because I think there's going to be some interesting Pokemon there. Obviously, you're going to have your grass and your bug Pokemon. But with that fog, maybe some ghost types, you never know. Phantump and that. But the detail in the graphics is quite good for Pokemon, which shouldn't be surprising, the details that you can get in the Switch, considering it's already given us games with brilliant graphics. The next scene, we go into one of our first cityscapes with a train running through the center and what seems to be the first signs of an industrial look. But we'll get back to that later on. Next, we see what looks like our first gym, the grass gym, and a little logo on the doors, which, again, we'll come back to later on. But the grass gym looks a bit like a stadium, very much like our Cardiff Stadium, our Wembley Stadium. We then get back into the city with a poster of some sort of poker food, I'm guessing, as well as another train in the background, and another sign of this industrialism with that cog, that steam cog in the middle of the river. Next, we go up the icy path, which we don't get a lot of detail on, but obviously there will be an icy region in here. And then we get a closer shot of what I'm calling the Professor's Lab, with that tranquil lake next to it. And then we go into our first wild Pokemon encounter, which with this is Pikachu. But it also shows that we are releasing Pokemon and that they will be attacking wild Pokemon, which was abandoned in Let's Go more or less, which I'm really happy to see returning in this. We also see battles against trainers, and with the last battling Pokemon, Lucario and Tyranitar, it seems like it's some sort of stadium. Now, is that actually going to be a cutscene in the game or not? Maybe it's reminiscent with the opening sequences of Jigglypuff versus Gengar in Blue and Gengar versus Nidorino in Pokemon Red, as well as Onix versus Gengar in the opening of the anime. But again, wait and see whether that's a scene that is going to be in there. Certainly interesting that it is being done in a stadium, which kind of looks like a Pokemon League stadium. As normal, we're going to have some Pokemon interacting in the overworld. What's disappointing is that we're not having a Pokemon follow us. You know, I liked that in Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee, you had Pokemon following you again, which we haven't seen since Heart Gold Soul Silver. So I'm a bit sad that that's not being carried into the next games. Then we go into the cutscenes of some sort of icy town with what looks like a library in the background, before going into the mines. Now, Britain is known for its mining, its industrial revolution, So it's quite interesting that we're going to be going into these mines. This is probably where we're going to get our Firestone, our war, all our evolution stones and item stones. We're also going to see some quite interesting ground Pokemon and rock Pokemon, in my opinion. Now, what's interesting is that we then go into a scene of a glyph, which is very reminiscent to hill figures that are in England, such as the Uffington White Horse and the Longman of Wilmington. So it's good to see these real life images portrayed in the Pokemon world. Is this going to be a legendary Pokemon or a special Pokemon? I don't think it's going to be a legendary as such. I think this is more going to be one of our special Pokemon that's unique to a certain area. It also looks like this might be a Thunder Pokemon based off of the aerial-like tail and the lightning shooting out of the clouds that it's producing. We also have figures underneath, whether they're worshipping or fearing this Pokemon. But I will be going into another video about what this Pokemon is. What's more interesting is looking at the real-life Uffington horse. That dates back to about 3,000 years, and I feel that's more important than people might realize, because we seem to be getting that 3,000 years quite a lot. What with the Kalos War, Meltan disappearing about 3,000 years ago. And if you look quite carefully, just underneath the figure, that seems like a hexagonal head to me. Wait and see for that video. Next, we're going back over the scenes of places that we already have seen. The snowy town, the mines, what looks like possibly the inside of the professor's lab, and then the outside of the professor's lab. And then we get this scene that makes me a bit perturbed, because we're seeing our trainer in what looks like a football uniform. And they clearly have on their sleeve the same logo that we see outside the grass gym, which I highly suspect is going to be our league logo for the game. And if you look carefully in the background of the stands, it does look like the grass symbol, but this clearly represents a football stadium. Given that we've already said that the gym looks like a stadium itself, are we going to see every single gym like a stadium? Are we going to be wearing this getup every time we go into a gym battle? Also, it's quite interesting that for the first time, gyms seem like they are more of an official event than in previous games, where people are actually watching you do gym battles. I like that sense, but I don't like the fact it's made to look like football. I'm not a football fan myself, but I know a lot of people in the UK are. Whether you want to say that this trailer is actually two separate trailers or one huge trailer, moving into the second half, it starts off with another look at that cityscape, and it's got more of that industrial revolution feel to it, with the piston cog system on top of the roof. Now, this is reminiscent to England's industrial era. Are they going to have this industrial era-like feel throughout the game, especially in the cities? Lots of cogs, lots of gears, which is interesting because we had this same feel with Kalos, especially in the film with Volcanion. And again, I'm going to be relating to Kalos quite a lot in future videos, because if the Pokemon world is shaped similar to our own world, and there's not been an official yes-no answer to this, but if it is shaped in a similar way, then we've got France, we've got England above it. We may have Kalos with the Galar region just above it, which, given the fact that we've got the industrial cogs in some of Kalos region, we've got similar cogs to this Galar region, the two might be more related, and it wouldn't surprise me if we see a lot of references coming back to the Kalos region. Then we go on to see our starter Pokemon for the game. Scorbunny, Sobble, and Grookey. And I must say, I'm quite interested in these. To me, Scorbunny seems to be giving a lot of detail as to what we can expect from this Pokemon. With its design alone, it is clearly a sports rabbit. It's clearly a football rabbit. Again, down into that football theme that we seem to be getting with this game. And yes, I've seen all the complaints about people not wanting this to be another firefighting type. I personally have no preference on whether I want it to be a firefighting or not. To be honest, I've generally stayed away from using fire types in the first place. My personal favourite are the water types of these starters, with one or two exceptions such as Trico. Less about Scorbunny, we also see Sobble, which seems to be some sort of water newt that can turn invisible. Interesting mechanic, see if that's actually in the game. And then we've got Grookey, which is some sort of chimpanzee. I've seen references to this being something related to cricket, another popular sport in the UK. I personally don't see as much into that, but I can understand why people do. It's just a chimp with a stick to me. Then, of course, we go back to the logos right at the end of the trailer. And as I say, looking at them, lovely designs. This game coming out on the Switch, I'm really looking forward to it. But it's that wolf head that's really got me intrigued, as I believe that's going to be our legendary for this game. And I say legendary, not legendaries. I think this is going to be a single legendary Pokemon with two forms, one game having an attack form, one game having a defense form. But again, I will go into that in another video. There will be a lot more videos to come just purely on what we see in the trailer. We'll be going over the map, we'll be going over the hill figure, we'll be going over the gyms, more detail on the starters, as well as some theories that I have onto other things like where Meltan fits into this whole chain of Sword and Shield, given the fact that it is supposed to be a Gen 8 Pokemon. As for when will this game come out on the Switch, we know it'll be late 2019, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I predict that it'll either be Friday 8th of November or Friday 15th of November, based off of past trends that Pokemon have done. Now, that is just my prediction. I could be extremely wrong with it, so don't quote me on it later on. Although, given the fact I've said it, someone probably will. Anyway, that's all for this video. As I said, more will be coming soon. But until next time, take care, guys.